Welcome to the last lesson of Bible Tech 401, in which I pretty much throw at the wall every app that I use for practically anything. I really just want to be a help to you. Years ago, I realized, we're talking 20 plus years ago, I realized I was spending more time looking for productivity apps and reading at the time the blog Lifehacker than I was actually using the apps. I don't want that to be the case for you. I certainly don't want it to be the case for me anymore. I spend way less time doing that now because I found apps that do what I want. And nowadays, there are multiple apps that do what I want. So, one way that I collect them together, and this is the only portion of this video that is sort of sponsored, I use Setapp. It's like the Netflix for Mac apps, and I want to show some of the apps to you. I will give you my referral code. I think we both benefit if you click the link. I don't care. I really just love it. I've actually been paying for it for, 6 to 8 years now. It might have been longer than that. And I wanted Logos to pay for it, but I could never get them to do it. So I paid for it myself up until quite recently when they happened to reach out to me, not even knowing that I was just about to put out this video. So I didn't do this because it's sponsored. I paid my own money for this for years and years. It just comes with a bunch of great apps, and I'm just going to rattle some of them off, and maybe they'll be useful to you. Ulysses, the very first one, I've already talked about a little bit on the channel. I actually just had to go through a huge document and style it, and Ulysses was the most efficient way to do that, along with VS Code. It's a really great way of organizing and writing your markdown documents. I like Obsidian a little better, but Ulysses I use for the export function, and I still keep it installed even though Obsidian is where all my stuff is. I used to use Ulysses for everything, not anymore. Renamer. I am constantly renaming files. I am constantly doing a find and replace, even with regular expressions inside file names, because I'm having to deal with a bunch of files at once. Bartender. Bartender organizes my menu bar because I have so many things on Mac OS that I've got to have the help. Nowadays, I'm thinking that this next app, Whisper Transcribe, is, it's just going to be the thing that I'm using this instant, but who knows what I'll use as time passes. I need to do speech to text. I need to toss MP3 files of sermons and lectures and podcasts into some app so I can get a transcription. I was doing this the other day so that I could grab an illustration from John McWhorter from Lexicon Valley, and there wasn't a transcription on his website, so I tossed it into this app and got my transcription. Downy, downloading YouTube videos. There is a minor ethical gray area here. You've got to do what is right according to your conscience. But I frequently will download YouTube videos so that I can listen to the lecture or sermon that I just wouldn't otherwise have a chance to listen to if I were tied to the desktop or even tied to my phone. Wi-Fi signal is something that I keep in my menu bar to tell me how strong my signal is. That's really helpful. Supercharge your Mac. I actually forget what that is. Oh, a couple little minor things that if I'm using them, I've kind of forgotten. Okay. Keeping my Mac awake with Lungo, I love that. I can just click a link in the menu, a little button in the menu bar, and then my Mac won't go to sleep. CleanShot X, I use absolutely constantly. I can take screenshots and then either copy them or save them or upload them to the web. I can grab little areas and make little arrows. And I can say, click here, then here, then here, then here, and then I can upload it to the web or copy it. It's just hugely useful for a designer and anybody who's communicating with others digitally. Measuring anything on your screen with Pixel Snap, I do that. I actually use that more to grab definitive areas of the screen. Like it'll snap to a square or rectangle and then tell me how big it is, and then I can take a screenshot of it. I really love that. I've got it on a dedicated shortcut. Gemini finds and removes duplicates among images, and I think other files, I use that, a time or two a year. TextSoap, I've already talked about. I use that for regular expressions recipes, and if you can even see this, I've got a bunch of them up here. I'm using them constantly. Permute is an excellent way to convert files, and they are constantly, every time I open the app, they've got a new version of it. They are constantly adding to it. You can drag and drop any video file or any image file, any audio file, and convert it to any other format. It's really, really helpful for a designer or anybody who's just handling computer files all the time. Clean My Mac is, when I first saw it, I thought this is just all like eye candy, but it's not. It's fantastic for just, spring cleaning type tasks, and I'll open it probably 5 to 10 times a year to clear up space on my hard drive. Focus, I don't use it currently, but I have used it in the past. I'll probably come back and using it at some point to block social media for me for a certain period. When I was working for Crossway, I was especially aware that, I'm not on the clock, but they want as much productivity out of me as they can get. And when I'm my own boss, I can do my own thing. But when I'm being paid by someone else, I want to use my time well. They don't expect, no job can expect you to be fully productive for every second of the day when you're a knowledge worker or a creative worker, like a writer or an editor. But I didn't want to fiddle away my time on social media. So I blocked social media apps. I allowed myself like 15 minutes a day total. Regex expressions is a way of practicing learning regular expressions. I've already talked about that. PDF Squeezer is really helpful because it's just a drag and drop interface, and you're able to drag a PDF on there and decide how big you want the PDF to be by shrinking or growing the image sizes, basically. Media Player I keep around just in case there's some weird file I get from someone that I can't open with QuickTime. Photo Bulk is a great way to resize photos. If you have to do it in bulk, I can do that in Photoshop, but Photo Bulk is even faster depending on the demand. Forklift, I don't use a whole lot, but I am able to manage all my clients' files on the WordPress system that I've got going. I can do that there. I actually do the same with Commander One. I probably need to get rid of that because I think I'm using Forklift now. Aquarello, I haven't used much, but I do use some of this for grabbing screenshot colors. And iStat menus I keep in my menu bar. Snap Motion I've never used. Noisio is a great app. You got to have a white noise app on your phone, probably on your computer. Might as well have one in Setapp. PDF Search I've used just a couple times and it's been helpful. And Unite I haven't used for a while. It's been finicky, but when it works, it makes web apps for me. Those are the actual Setapp apps that I use. And how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So approximately 25, because there's probably 3 of those that I don't really use. There are way more apps in here, and for about $10 a month, I have access to all of them. They're adding new ones all the time, and I don't want to get political here, but they are in Ukraine, and personally, I'm glad to support them for that reason. But I am just super happy to have them kind of culling through all the great apps out there and giving me the good ones for a very, very reasonable price. I worked it out that it would take me a little over 2 years to break even if I were just to buy all the apps that I use. But then I don't know about updates. Some of them might get updates that I might not get. So to be clear, I am now getting a free year from Setapp, but I want to be very clear that I was going to make this video before they contacted me. I'm very grateful for the work that they do. It's phenomenal, and I recommend it. I want to talk through a couple other tools that I've been using a lot recently. AI and Raycast. I mean, just look at the things I'm doing in it. I'm paying $8 a month, and it's absolutely worth it. I'm asking it for help on how to do stuff in InDesign, and it just spits it right out for me, and it works. I wanted to find this place we were seeing in an episode of a TV show that our family watches called The Vancouver Lookout. It found me. Call me lazy because I could do this in Logos, and I thought I knew what scapas meant, but I just wanted to confirm, and it looked it up for me, and it was exactly right. They can't transcribe an audio file. I looked for English words that are plural in form and singular in meaning, and it gave me binoculars and pliers and cattle and data and news and pants and some other great ones. I had it add up some numbers for me. I had it tell me the names, like alternatives to the name Jack in different languages. I wanted to know how old Trump was. I can't remember why. I'm just constantly using AI now. I mean, suddenly it's gone from something that I didn't even know I wanted to something that I can't do without. And Raycast has been the best way to do it. In Raycast, I can actually go look at my AI list. And right now I'm on ChatGPT 4o Mini because I care more about intelligence than speed. But I check this every so often because there's a bunch of options here. And if there comes one that's smarter, I will probably use it. I have really loved AI. It doesn't feel different to me from using Google, except it's just faster and better. Google has either got to get Gemini up to speed or make it, somehow get it into our lives, which is what they're trying to do, or they're going to lose market share like really fast. Okay, I also wanted to talk real briefly about Unicode keyboards. I have it set up so that if I hit Command Escape, I will go from the US keyboard to the Greek polytonic to the Hebrew QWERTY. For years and years, I used the Tyndall House keyboards, Unicode keyboards for Greek and Hebrew, but I am persnickety, and I was really frustrated that I had such a hard time changing the icon in the menu bar. It bothered me. And then little other odd things would go wrong. I don't know. I just ended up going with the stock Mac OS experience for polytonic Greek and Hebrew. And I don't have to type Hebrew very often, but Greek I do quite frequently. And I just had to learn a couple new, keyboard mappings. And now I don't have to bother with installing new software every time I update my Mac or something. So I wish Tyndale House would make an improved version. Maybe David and Stone Brewer will get this message and do that, because I could not figure it out. It exceeded my nerd capacities. But you've got to use Unicode if you're going to type in Greek or Hebrew, and you can check out Tyndall House for that. But if you use Mac OS, I would just go ahead and use my methods. I use Dropbox for all my files. I have a lot of client files, a lot of logos. I have to be able to share files with clients very easily and receive files very easily. I do that in Dropbox. I have to keep a lot of client files for them, even though I don't actually promise that and they don't pay me to do that. I just know that Pastor so and so is not going to be able to keep track of his scalable vector graphic version of his logo the way I can. I have a system, I use it, and it's come in handy a kabillion times for clients, and it just keeps them happy, and I'm happy to serve churches. That's why I do the web design work that I do, that and now feeding my family. I use Adobe products. I tried to get away from Adobe for a time. I used Affinity Designer, and here's Adobe Photoshop. I used Affinity Affinity Photo, and they were very nice. They were very nice. If I were just starting out, I think I might use them. But the fact is, Lightroom, I think, is one of the best designed apps I've ever used. It hasn't changed a whole lot in the time that I've used it. Here is our client pictures for a church in Philadelphia, whose website I'm just now finishing up all the wrapped up details on. I can so easily crop and export photos to whatever size here in this app. I can mark them, I can edit them, I can do little healing brushes so that I can take away the wires that come through here. I mean, I do a bunch of little things that my clients don't even know I'm doing for them, just to make their sites nicer. And Photoshop and Lightroom work so well together. Illustrator, I love. I just can't get away from the Adobe ecosystem, and the deal, in my mind, is really quite good for what I'm getting. Trello. I can't show you my Trello Kanban board because it has a lot of proprietary client information, but I had to get my act together for to-do list, and not to-do list really so much, because that is still paper. I really love that little system. I've finally, after years and years, gotten the right system for me. And I also will use actually old business cards that I never need, and I'll just write random stuff on the back. But not for to-do lists, but for tracking projects, I use Trello and the Kanban board there, and I absolutely love it. Highly recommend it. And then brand new app I just installed maybe 2 days ago is called Dia. It's a browser, and the integration of AI in this browser is really fantastic. So, if I were to go, oops, I'm still on a Unicode keyboard for Greek. Let's get to English, and let's go to the New York Times. And if I grab an article and I hit Command E, I can ask AI a question about the thing that's on the screen. When did Israel hit Iran with missiles? And let's see. I didn't plan this out. This seems to be taking a little while. Oh, it's actually giving me links to other things and giving me an answer. Early hours of June 13th, 2025. I mean, that's this very day as I'm recording. And I should be putting this out today. I'm really liking this. And I think when AI first came out, it was a novelty. But a friend of mine, Joel Arnold, whose website I host and is a good Bible teacher, he was using it more, and I thought, maybe I really ought to incorporate it more. And I'm quickly becoming aware that even with regard to my web browsing, AI is helpful. It's just so frequent that I need a summary of something that I really would like to read, but I just don't have the time for. And, I think it has to be left to individual judgment and conscience and wisdom, how often you do that versus reading it yourself. What can I say except I've been using technological tools for my entire life, and I don't think it's made me a dummy, at least not yet. Okay, that's it for Bible Tech 401. For those of you who stuck with me throughout this whole series, I really hope that 5, 10, 15 tips in this series will end up landing with you. And let me underline here, I just was evangelizing somebody else about Markdown the other day when I was teaching in Nebraska at a church, and the pastors were all skeptical as to why I would want to learn this crazy, programming language. And it was hard for me to communicate to them just how life-changing Markdown has been for me and regular expressions. If I could leave you with, have I already said that in this series? I don't know. If I could leave you with, the main things here, I would say if you would try Markdown and regular expressions and Raycast, I would say in that order, those things alone, and I'm kind of presuming that Obsidian or Ulysses, something like that, a really good Markdown app, is part of trying Markdown. If you would just try those things, I have to feel that a bunch of you, if you made it this far in the series, would find that really useful. And I pray that the work that I've done in this course, it's the same thing I pray for all my work, would help you serve the body of Christ.